She's a goddamn psycho. I don't know what to do with my stepdaughter anymore. She took a bunch of pictures of me while I was sleeping. Everything started 6 months ago when I married Harry. He has a 13-year-old daughter, Lily, from his previous marriage. I don't have any children of my own. The problem is, Lily and I haven't been able to get along. Since the wedding, things have gotten progressively worse. Much worse. At first, she ignored me. Now she's aggressive. My favourite shoes were smeared with paint. My designer clothes were turned into rags. She even splattered black ink all over our bed like some bizarre art project. Who knows what goes on in these kids' minds? Harry has talked to her many times, but he's never truly scolded or punished her. Lily needs to be held accountable for her actions, but he's too soft to discipline her or take away her phone. He keeps defending her, telling me to be patient and give her more time to adjust. He says Lily is going through a tough time. But what about me? I'm also struggling. I can only sigh and let things slide, but it's getting worse. Harry went on a business trip for 3 days, leaving me to look after Lily. Right off the bat, she started to annoy me. She casually wore my necklace without asking. I told her, "You can wear my necklace, but you need to ask for my permission first." "I don't need to ask for anything," she said. "Yes, you do. You need to learn to ask adults for permission. While your father is away for the next 3 days, you have to listen to me." "I won't listen. You're not my mother," Lily yelled, tugging the necklace until it snapped. I was super angry, so I took her phone and banned her from using it for the next 3 days. She ran to her room, slammed the door, and cried. I called Harry to explain the situation. I knew he was upset, but he agreed that Lily needed to change and that taking her phone was the right thing to do. I thought that was the end of it, but then I discovered something horrifying. That night, after Lily went to bed, I took a selfie to send to Harry. When I opened the photo gallery, I saw pictures of me, sleeping. What the hell was going on? I must have picked up Lily's phone by mistake. But why had Lily taken photos of me sleeping? They were blurry and dark. She hadn't used the flash, but I could clearly see my face pressed against the pillow, eyes closed. I could see Harry's shadow in the background, turned away. I scrolled to the next photo, still of me sleeping, but from a different angle, taken from below, like she was hiding under the bed. I checked the timestamps. They were all around 2 a.m. Over several weeks. I panicked. Now the only thing I could do was call Harry, but the long ringing tone echoed in my ears, my heart pounding. I called again. Still the long ring. He must have set his phone to silent because he has a meeting tomorrow. "Jen!" someone suddenly called. From behind me, in the dim light, that was Lily, her wavy hair falling over half her face. Lily wanted her phone back. "Not tonight," I answered, my voice trembling and my heart racing. "But you can have it tomorrow." Lily shrugged and walked back to her room. I looked through the photos again. Why had Lily taken these pictures? To threaten me? To scare me? Was she planning to kill me, or maybe she just wanted to embarrass me? Maybe she planned to post them on TikTok or Instagram, but I looked awful, mouth open while I slept. Anyway, it wasn't the act of a psychopath. Lily was just a child. Still, that night, I locked my bedroom door. While waiting for Lily to finish school, I called Harry. He also thought Lily might have taken the pictures to post online or something. But Harry agreed with me that things had gone too far. He promised to talk to her when he returned from his trip. "Can I use my phone today?" Lily asked the moment she got in the car. "When you're really, really good, then I'll give it back, okay?" Tonight, I just needed to lock my bedroom door to be safe. She couldn't take pictures of me anymore. After talking to Harry, I felt much better, but what happened next made me regret it. That night, Lily was very well behaved. She thanked me for dinner, washed the dishes, and even folded the towels neatly. Although I didn't want to give her phone back, I wanted to reward her for her behaviour. So I returned her phone. Suddenly, I woke up at 2:30 a.m. Everything was dark. I couldn't see anything except the faint glow from the nightstand lamp. I realised what had woken me up. A metallic sound. Click, click, coming from the door. Just as I got out of bed, the door burst open. Lily stood in the doorway, holding her phone and... Snap! "What do you think you're doing?" I shouted. Lily suddenly ran away. I jumped out of bed, chased her and demanded, "Hey, stop! Why are you taking pictures of me? Why?" Lily stopped, then slowly turned her head. "Dad doesn't believe me, so I took pictures." "What? What do you mean he doesn't believe you? About what?" Lily said nothing, handing me the phone. She swiped to the first photo of me taken in the dark, blurry and dim. Her finger pointed to the ceiling in the picture. "Look!" "Look at what?" "Just turn up the brightness." I turned up the brightness. In the picture, something was on the ceiling. Long shapes, crisscrossing. Lily swiped to the next picture and the next. It's like watching an old cartoon, each frame creating a movement. Something was reaching from the ceiling toward the bed, like a woman's arm. Dad didn't believe me when I showed him the pictures. He said he didn't see anything. He scolded me and said I read too many horror stories. So I showed my friends, but they didn't know either. My heart started to pound. I looked at the last photo, taken minutes ago, when I was sitting up in bed, shouting for Lily, and behind me was...
We got the distress signal at 3 a.m. It woke me from a deep sleep, the shrill beeping echoing in my ears. Bobby, Kim, and I stumbled to the control room where the radio was flashing urgently.
"Distress signal from a yacht?
Bobby said, his voice tense.
Registered to a Daniel Owens. No other information."
"All right," I said, adrenaline kicking in. "Let's gear up." By 3:10 a.m., we were cutting across the waves in our rescue boat, surrounded by the darkness of the ocean. The only light came from our headlamp, piercing the pitch-black night. The weather was clear, but I couldn't help but wonder what had happened to Daniel and his friends, since it had been a long time since we'd received an SOS without a storm.
"Who knows with these rich folks?
Kim said.
They do all kinds of weird stuff."
The ocean loomed ahead of us, pure darkness in every direction. I glanced back, seeing the lights from the dock getting smaller and smaller, eventually swallowed by the void. We reached the yacht by 3:20 a.m. It was a massive vessel, about 50 or 60 feet long, reflecting eerily in the inky black water. Bobby shifted gears and we pulled up alongside it. Slowly, quietly, Bobby grabbed the megaphone.
U.S. Coast Guard,
He called out.
can you hear us?
Silence. Kim and I started with the rope securing our boat to the yacht. As we worked, I kept glancing up at the yacht. I didn't see any damage to the boat or people in the water. Kim boarded first. I followed while Bobby stayed in our boat, preparing to search the surrounding water. I swallowed hard and stepped inside. The doors opened into a small but lavishly decorated room. To the right, a bar area stood, and to the left a dining area with tables and booths. The tables were set with food as if people had just been there moments before. Glasses of champagne still bubbling, a fillet of salmon a few bites missing, lipstick smeared on a napkin. I looked at my watch. 3:25 a.m. They'd sent the SOS not even 20 minutes ago. How did they go from eating and drinking to just nothing? Kim walked over, her face pale.
I checked below deck, no one's there.
The food's still warm, I said, my voice shaky. Her eyes widened.
What the hell? Where did they go?
I suggested to check the top deck. We made our way to the stairs, moving cautiously. The top deck was open to the air. I glanced at the captain's chair, the steering wheel, and the little U-shaped sofa behind them. It was empty. They're not here, that's for sure. They've got to be in the water. I looked out over the railing, into the black water below. I turned, looking around the boat, scanning the water. My heart stopped. Where's Bobby? Our boat was still linked with the yacht, but it was empty.
He must have boarded.
Kim snapped, charging for the stairs.
He never follows protocol. I always tell him it's going to get someone killed, but no, he just has to do things his way.
Her rant grew muffled as she descended towards the deck. I followed her, but Bobby wasn't downstairs. He wasn't in the dining area or in either of the bedrooms below deck. I checked tiny closets that couldn't possibly fit a person, then opened the storage cabins that held the life jackets. Bobby, where are you? A hand clamped over my mouth. Something shoved me to the floor. I tried to wrestle away, but then I saw a flash of red curls above me. Kim. She was dragging me under the table, whispering, begging me to keep quiet. Shh. Squelch. Both of us froze. I slightly glanced up. Bobby was standing there in the center of the room, but something was horribly wrong with him. He was soaking wet from head to toe. Seawater sloshed in his boots. Streams of water ran off his sleeves. His face was pale and sickly, with his forehead swollen unnaturally, almost sagging downwards. And his eyes, they were pure white, pupilless, blank. Squelch. Bobby took another step. Squelch. And another. Kim's nails dug into my arm. We watched as Bobby, no, not Bobby, not anymore, continued walking towards us. I held my breath, shutting my eyes. Please don't let him see us. Please. Squelch. 2 rubber boots, right in front of our table. Squelch. He continued deeper into the cabin. I let out the breath I was holding. Kim's grip on my arm loosened. As soon as Bobby's steps sounded on the stairs, Kim whispered to me,
Run!
I didn't want to, but then she shoved me hard and I was rolling out from under the table. I scrambled up just in time to see Bobby freeze on the stairs. He slowly turned around, his white eyes locking on mine. I ran, faster than I'd run in my life. We scrambled out onto the deck, then made our way into the boat as fast as we could. Kim made it first. Then she grabbed my hand, pulling me towards safety. Squelch. Bobby's hand locked onto my ankle, except they weren't just hands. His fingers were jointless like tentacles wrapping perfectly around my ankle, covered in fleshy suction cups. And his face, it was rapidly changing. Before my eyes, his flesh twisted and bloated into different forms, until I saw a woman, then an older man. This is how I die. But then a massive wave crashed over us, flipping the boat 90 degrees, and everything fell into the sea. Back home, I was so relieved, so thankful. Whatever that thing was, I'd escaped it. I felt better than I had in years. Like all my problems were tiny grains of sand, but now I'm not so sure.
This is my first night shift at G Zoo. My usual job is to observe and take care of the animals here at night. To be honest, this job is quite boring. I just sit in front of a screen and watch them sit, stand, or walk around for hours. I look forward to 8 o'clock so I can feed them. At least I get to go outside and breathe some fresh air. It's strange that there are no other staff here besides me. Maybe not many people are willing to work the night shift. But for me, I agreed because it's an easy job with good pay. Somehow, today the deers look more energetic than usual, constantly hopping around. Hey Tiger growled and the camera No 8 went off, startling me a little. It's probably hungry, time to feed them. Both my hands are carrying heavy buckets of meat. I take the food to the tiger and toss them some red meat. But the tiger just lies there, not even bothering to eat. I get closer and see the tiger lying on its back in a strange position. I smell the stench of blood and start to feel uneasy. I try to stay calm, but it's too dark to tell if the black stripes on its skin are blood or not. Then I notice small bite marks on its lower belly. Suddenly, I hear the sound of banging on the enclosure door and the screeching of the gorillas. I immediately run over, thinking the situation there might be more serious. I run over to the gorilla enclosure. One of them is writhing on the ground while the other two look terrified. I approach the cage, open the door, and step inside. The writhing gorilla starts to mutate, growing 2 sharp legs on either side of its back, like spider legs. Its teeth are razor sharp, and its green eyes gleam with madness. Then it lunges at me. Fortunately or unfortunately, another gorilla jumps over and takes the bite from the mutated gorilla instead of me. I stagger back, in shock and unsure of what to do. The bitten gorilla starts to mutate as well. Its body swells unnaturally, and its limbs sprout extra fingers with long, sharp claws. The sight is nightmarish. Seeing the madness in the gorilla's eyes, I knew I was facing something far beyond my control. I quickly run out of the enclosure, locking it behind me. The mutated gorillas rush to the door and trying to grab me, but I step back, just in time. Their strength is no joke. This enclosure won't hold them for long if they keep ramming into it like this. When I first saw the tiger lying there, I sensed something was wrong, but I never imagined things would get this bad. I realize I can't handle this situation alone. I need to report this to Dr. Morgan. I never thought this job could become so horrifying. The sounds of banging and screeching behind me and the haunting green eyes make me feel like I'm trapped in a horror movie. I burst into the lab, breathless and desperate. Dr. Morgan, the gorillas, they've escaped. Dr. Morgan looks up from her work, her face pale. We need to act fast. The vaccine isn't ready, but we can slow the mutation process. We grab as many vaccine vials as we can and head out into the zoo. The plan is to inject to the animals and hope for the best. But as we step outside, the scene that greets us is a nightmare. The animals have escaped their enclosures, and their mutations are more evident than ever. The giraffe's necks twist like snakes. The limbs of the crocodile became larger, sturdier, and elongated, making it move faster. From both sides of the elephant's neck, tentacles of an octopus began to sprout, moving eerily through the air. The gorillas are the worst. They move with terrifying speed and agility, their eyes gleaming with malevolent intelligence. We split up, trying to cover as much ground as possible. I head toward the zebra enclosure, hoping to inject the vaccine into them before they mutate further. The zebra's stripes swirl into chaotic patterns, their bodies twisted and contorted. I give an injection to the first zebra, hoping the vaccine will take effect quickly. But as I move to the next one, I feel a sharp pain in my leg. I look down and see a deer who has mutated with its claws digging into my skin. I scream and kick it away, but it is already damaged. I can feel the mutation process starting. I inject myself with a dose of the vaccine, praying it will work. The pain is excruciating, my vision blurs, and I stagger. falling to the ground. I try to stay calm, but the fear keeps rising within me. And as I feel the mutation process beginning in my body, I know this fight is beyond my control. I know my time is running out. Dr. Morgan's voice comes through the talkie like a faint glimmer of hope. Paul, hold on, we'll fix this. But I know it's too late for me. All I can do is hope that the others can stop this epidemic before it spreads further. The last thing I see before everything goes dark is the zoo in chaos. The mutated animals causing havoc and Dr. Morgan's desperate face. The silence of the night is shattered by the sounds of chaos and horror. And I know I've become part of a nightmare with no escape.
I've always known my girlfriend Caitlin wears too much makeup. I'm not talking about a bit of mascara and some lipstick. No, Caitlin layers on foundation, concealer, and God knows what else until her face looks like a porcelain mask. It's not just her face, either. Her neck and chest are also meticulously coated, making her look almost like a painted doll. But here's the thing. I've never seen her without it. We've been dating for almost a year, and I'm crazy about her. She's smart, funny, and beautiful. At least I think she is, under all that makeup. But her obsession with never being seen without it has started to strain our relationship. She avoids any activity that might smudge her makeup, which includes not just swimming or running, but even simple things like getting caught in the rain, touching her face, or kissing for more than a few seconds. It's like she's always hiding something. One night, I decided enough was enough. We were staying at my parents' house, and I had stayed up late to finish some work. After a few beers, I made up my mind. I was going to see Caitlin without her makeup. I had to know what she was hiding. I sneaked into my mum's bathroom and grabbed some cleanser and cotton pads. My heart pounded as I crept back to the bedroom where Caitlin was sleeping. Her makeup had left orange stains on the white sheets. I perched on the edge of the bed and lightly dabbed a cotton pad on her cheek. Nothing happened. I wiped harder. Still nothing. The makeup came off on the pad, but her face looked exactly the same. I took another pad and continued, wiping the same spot over and over. Then I saw it, a patch of redness under the layers. It looked like raw flesh. No skin, just muscle and tissue. Panic surged through me. What the hell was I looking at? Suddenly, Caitlin shifted and her eyes snapped open, wide with panic.
Tom! What are you doing?
She demanded, sitting up and cupping her face. She felt the bare patch I'd uncovered and screamed.
What have you done?
She bolted out of bed and ran to the mirror, staring at the damage in horror. Then she turned to me, eyes wild.
You didn't touch it, did you?
Touch what? I stammered, utterly confused.
That!
She shouted, pointing to the exposed flesh on her cheek. I don't know, I stuttered. Why? But she wasn't listening. She tore out of the room and disappeared down the hallway. I sat there, stunned, until she came back, clutching a kitchen knife. Whoa, whoa, I yelled. What are you doing with that?
Shut up!
She snapped.
Which hand did you use?
I pointed to my right hand, too shocked to do anything else.
How long ago?
Maybe 10 minutes? I squeaked. Her eyes widened in terror.
It's too late! Your whole arm must go!
I scrambled off the bed, backing away. You can't cut off my arm!
I have to!
She insisted.
Or the infection will spread!
Jesus Christ! What infection? Caitlin, what are you talking about?
Tom, please! It has to be done now!
I wasn't about to let her amputate my arm. I fled the room, slamming the door behind me and locking it. She pounded on the door, screaming to be let out, but I ignored her. My parents, woken by the commotion, came out of their bedroom. But I told them we'd had an argument and they went back to bed. I spent the night on the couch, but I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what had happened. Why did Caitlin react that way? What was wrong with her skin? In the morning, I cautiously went back upstairs. I unlocked the bedroom door, armed with a knife just in case. But when I opened it, Caitlin was sitting on the edge of the bed, facing the wall. She had reapplied her makeup, and her face was once again a flawless mask. "Caitlin," I ventured. She didn't respond at first. Then she turned to me, eyes cold and distant.
I don't think this is going to work out, Tom.
"What? Why?" I asked, my heart sinking.
You're not trustworthy.
She replied.
You knew I didn't want you to see me without makeup, and you did it anyway.
"I just wanted to help you," I protested. "I didn't know about whatever this is." She shook her head.
It doesn't matter. It's over.
I was stunned. "But Caitlin, I love you." She gave me an eerily smile.
Yeah, well, looks like it's your problem now, too.
She handed me a bottle of foundation.
You'll need this.
She said, and then she was gone. I stared at the bottle in disbelief. What was I supposed to do with it? I tossed it in the trash and went downstairs. My mind a whirlwind of confusion and fear. In the kitchen, my mum was making breakfast. As soon as she saw me, she gasped and dropped a plate. "Tom, what happened to your face?" I ran to the mirror in the hallway. My reflection stared back at me, horrified. A patch of my skin was missing, replaced by raw red flesh, the same as Caitlin's. I touched the spot, my fingers trembling. It was spreading, and at that moment, I understood. Caitlin's secret was now mine to bear. The infection, whatever it was, had passed to me. I was becoming like Caitlin, and there was nothing I could do to stop it.